this comes with a realization. That's where you get the power from. You can talkie, but where's the walkie? We need to see it. This is something that Jade and I are always immersed in, and that's why the feeling is so critical. You're not thinking, you're knowing. You're not thinking, you're knowing. You're knowing, you are realized instantaneously. You have pure source information, and it comes in the form of a feeling that comes from here that is second to none. And it transmutes into brain, heart, gut fluidity. Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. My divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade. Welcome.
Howdy doody.
Howdy. And welcome, you beautiful people. You most superpower, superhuman, supernatural, infinite possibilities. The most incredible synergistic realization of pure source. Welcome to you too. And I'm your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn.
Ooh, I like that. You could say that again.
Taoist Master San Quinn. Oh, you mean the stuff before that? Yes. Another incredible day repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just like most things, they're a repetition, an expression of what we consider reality, or is it? The realization of what these patterns really mean, a behavior that becomes hereditary, or is it genetic, or is it? What is it that replicates itself that is then realized in your everyday operation? This is such a big question mark, yet it is not, because we know that more discovery, going back thousands, tens of thousands of years for a Taoist, and moreover, I mention these things about time beforehand, BC, BEC, however you want to describe it, whether it's in relation to a particular point in history. But the reality is, the more and more you search, the more and more you find. And so we are incredible light beings. And as light beings, we operate off words, symbols, numbers, letters, and they're all integrated deep within our DNA. And so what does that really mean? Linguistics is the language of love, or is it? Another question. To be or not to be? That is the question. Damn, Shakespeare, you got it. This is where we realize that synchronicity, as you are a tuning fork of your reality, that synchronicity is so powerful. So we look at patterns. We can reference, I'm having a bad day only because you invest in it. I'm having a good day only because you invest in it. That's a cycle. And it can be a macro cycle or a micro cycle. You can look under a microscope, or you can go as deep as a subatomic particle that you cannot see with the naked eye. It's all a flow of expression within the universe. That's what it is.
Do you think that the more information we have now, access to the internet, access to, different belief systems, cultures, ancient tools, do you think that is a hindrance or more of a consciousness evolution? Are we a more evolved now with this infinite access to information, or are we almost more limited than we were, say, 500 years ago?
I'm not sure. I still think the technology is so antiquated, even right now, because, the more and more people go deeper in on sort of indigenous, civilizations, ancient practices, that you across the world, and you have archaeologists that have discovered pieces of history that are millions of years old. Yet, we look at the reflection of the human being and how the DNA is, basically you as a human being, flesh and blood, your expression is determined by your DNA, your genetic pool. And your genetic pool is determined by your environment. Yet you have the ability, even with a little microscopic drop of DNA, holds up to 700 terabytes of information. Now that, on the scheme of things, is mind-blowing. So if you were to look at yourself collectively, the flesh and blood that you see before you, which is wave to matter to particle, realized, this holographic light stream, wherever your eyes go, the manifestation flows, is this realization. What does that mean? We are looking at things that have been altered because you have the ability now to study the genome, the genetic code of human beings, and we can take something and deconstruct it and work out where it came from, what it means, and to parallel that with what's going on right now in the stage of evolution is patently false. It's a fallacy. And so you have a very clear path of direction of how the DNA strand has been altered well in excess of 200,000 years ago. So human beings have been operating on this earth for millions. I'll tell you millions. Like when I talk to the Yellow Emperor, it's quite clear. I've referenced tens of thousands of years. He has been a transmutation of the very essence that is the Tao for hundreds of thousands of years. And it becomes realized in this flesh and blood, moreover, a story of a powerful, ruler, emperor, energy, immortal. It just transmutes into its next form. This is how we talk about past generations, past lives. We are consciousness continually evolving, never to be realized. And that's where there is a separation where, we talk about certain indigenous practices where they reference specific types of code that gives you a starting point of, the evolution of ancient tribes, but that spans the earth. We have, evidence of this ancient code too, and they reference it as a ideograph, where I could absolutely understand what that means, and they're still not clear on how to express it as a language, but we're very clear. We already know it intuitively. You don't need to hear someone read a couple of books and come to their own conclusion about what is truly going on with you. You are made up of numbers, words, letters, symbols, and those symbols can be transmuted into anything, and that's really what we're talking about here, and understanding that those symbols go back tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of years, and that's transmuted into the language that you have sort of gravitated to within your incarnation right now. So what does that mean? It means, well, you'll feel it if you know. just as I feel it in my past lives as Taoist masters, Taoist immortals, bringing myself to this present moment, and have a very clear and vivid remembrance of my past lives. Very clear. And sometimes I think it's quite interesting how people tend to talk about this as it's such a revelation that you could come across someone that is able to remember their past lives. I guess, I don't know. It's something that was quite intuitively very easy for me when I was exposed to consciously channeling, referencing information, getting pure source information that's been going on in my natural born life for decades. And now here we are. We have this moment, this evolution where, quantum physics and science today has merged to a point where it's inevitable this new language that we speak of that's 300 or 400 years old is speaking on and referencing to something greater. And the power of it is, you are the tuning fork. You are the magnet. You are all powerful. You have the knowing. You are the field. The field is you. You are all source information. That tuning fork is realized within your DNA. Your DNA is a reflection of everything that is integrated into the essence of this field, this pulsating consciousness that you have access to, that you are. And so when you switch that light on, your receiver is like a frickin' magnet, and all of a sudden you replicate what you know. What you know is a default, the universe. And as the universe, you magnetize yourself. So a thought, feeling, and emotion is generated into a rippling effect that creates this chemistry that is realized in the blood and accesses your gene expression, your DNA, which is just the memories, the information, the memory pack, the battery that you are able to then draw everything to you like flies to doo-doo instantaneously. That realization is that feeling, that kinesthetic charge that you get using this neurology within this physical body that makes it so powerful. You are all powerful. You are all knowing. Access to all things. And that pulsating consciousness is just you remembering who you are. You gravitate to a scripture. You gravitate to a sound. You gravitate to a place. You gravitate to a person. You gravitate to whatever it is makes you feel good, that truth teller. And so just on the biomechanical references, when we're talking about the heart has the magnetism 5,000 times more than the brain, and even the electromagnetism, the electrical charge that comes from the heart, is 100 times more powerful than the brain. The brain is a transmitter, that's it. It's a chemical fun factory. All the information is coming from your heart. You have it within you. And we're recalling it. We're referencing it. We're refreshing it. But this is where you gravitate to these patterns that we speak of. It's like, some people reference it as Groundhog Day. But, you envelop this stuff. So, we speak on brainwaves, which are so powerful. You access those brainwaves. You access your consciousness. Your consciousness is all things. This is the tuning fork. Your perception of your reality is consciousness in of itself. But when you evoke it and you activate that gamma frequency, that envelops the whole brain. That means that you are 100% conscious, 100% creative, 100% active to transmute anything instantaneously from a thought, feeling, and emotion realized in a manifestation, magic, and healing, blammo, right here, right now. That's you. You are all-knowing. You are all-powerful. You are the field. The field is you. That zero-point energy, the plasma that we speak of, that is the quantum, the entanglement, that interconnection that is realized, that everything is dynamic, it's pulsating, and that fractal process that we talk of, that everything is a pattern, a sequence, a cycle, that has everything to do with the pulsation of the universe. You can look at it in any way, shape, or form, you will find it. Now, you can reference it in numbers. I have yet to be drawn to numbers, symbols, sacred words, sacred shapes, sacred numbers, sacred letters are my bag. The details, the intricate details of zeros and ones that are realized in what? Something as simple as your cell phone, the internet. This is absolute unleveled up evidence of the quantum model, quantum mechanics operating right now. It's like, it's very difficult when someone says to me, that's gobbledygook, when in reality, this is a realized fact, this operation. So you can identify your patterns. You want to change it, that's on you. What is it? How? What? So, Sifu, I want to change it. I want to manifest. I want to heal. I want to create magic instantaneously. All it takes is you're identifying. That means being conscious. That means being conscious. That means being conscious. And how do you obtain that? You create that fluidity within this realization of wave to matter to particle, this flesh and blood. It's transmuted into what we call this frequency that aligns you as the field, earth, universe, all now, all here, all present. And so then you're able to transmute all this into whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, by a second-by-second basis. You have it. You got it. It's all yours. It's yours to be relinquished. It's yours to be realized. It's yours to be accepted. And then it transmutes into a 3 to 5D reality. This sequence of shifting gears. But most importantly, from a biological upgrade realization, is the frequencies, the codes that go into it. That's something, the portals, all the things that Jade and I are working with, that are sharing with you, they're being realized instantaneously. And how powerful the two fundamental tools that we use, which is Nigong and Qigong, are ancient Taoist practices that are realized and are elevated and oscillated to high levels of consciousness instantaneously. Power up, level up, realize.
I think so much too, because we kind of live in this very analytical world. We're thinking, we get the message, and then we're still we're thinking about it or dismissing it or trying to translate it into just a coincidence, just a oh, it was because of this or something else. It wasn't actually, the message I was looking for. It wasn't actually the feeling I was feeling. We almost try to subdue it to not maybe seem different, crazy, a little bit kooky, all of the kind of labels that people like to put on,
Well, you're the tuning fork, right? So what's the simplest way to realize these things? We get variations when people are using the way 126, and sometimes we'll be like, my goodness, it's so slow. It needs to go. Actually, absolutely not. If it's so slow, it's not slow enough. And your realization that you're pacing and leading, or your inability to synchronize with that, means that you are so far off the target, you need to wake up and smell the coffee, is the expression. So that's that synchronicity. The way 126 experience synchronizes you to evoke the gamma frequency that envelops the whole brain, making you highly creative, highly conscious, highly pliable, instantaneously learning, instantaneously creating, instantaneously healing, manifesting instantly. That's what that gamma frequency does. And of course, you can level that up, and your neurology starts to finely tune it, and you go 40 cc's, 80 cc's, 120 cc's, 200 cc's. That's cycles. That's a cycle. That's the power, the juice. You will feel like a rocket taking off. You know, go time, blammo. How do I know this? I've been doing this for decades, and now it's realized in this particular digital offering, a contemporary offering of an ancient practice. And it's quite simple. We use your perception, your sensory perception, visual, audible, kinesthetic. And you won't have to wonder. You'll know because you can feel it. And so, you know, when you're moving through your realization of your manifestation of your life, you know what Wu Wei is, which is effortless action, and you know what resistance is. When you force something from the scriptures, directly from the Tao Te Ching, when you force it, it will hold and then it will break. That's just a fact. And you can identify with that through your own expression. You're listening to us now because you're gravitating to the information. But understand everything is a pattern within this incredible system that is you. All that you see outside of you is inside of you. When you understand everything is dynamic and pulsating, you can literally time whatever it is that you want, whenever you want, however you want. And you can repeat it. You want, you know, fear, loathing, helplessness, hopelessness, misery, suffering, sadness. You can have it all day long. Keep repeating. Hit play and then repeat. Rewind, hit play again, repeat. This can be simulated and is simulated in your reality. You will find this throughout all things modalities when it comes to alternative healing. You will find there's a specific type of person, light worker, energy worker, whatever you want to call yourself, massage therapist, chiropractor, Chinese medicine, acupuncturist, psychic, medium, whatever it is. You gravitate to whatever you create. As a Taoist priest, I've been trained in all aspects of the metaphysical experience, from, something to nothing to everything. And physical body, energetic body, spiritual body, all encompassing. And so I have a tool, I have a method for anything that arises within my path. But when you are, Wu Ji, which is the stillness, which is all things that follow in your path are to be realized and to be healed, to be created, to be redirected, transmuted into what we call this profound thing called the Tao. So any low vibration stagnation that may fall into my path, whether it may assume itself as something low vibrational or something darker in nature, as there's two sides to a duality, it will be transmuted and realized into something that is of a higher frequency. But if you identify with those people, oh, my girlfriend is such a drama queen. Oh, my buddy, all he does is every time I see him, he complains. Oh, my parents, whenever I turn up for a family dinner, they're just complaining about the neighbor next door. This is a cycle that all human beings fall into, a groove. And some people have coined it as what we call the Groundhog Day, which is a repetition, a repeating of the same behavior. This is actually completely referenced to the cycle of the universe. These fractal cycles are within everything, from a head of broccoli all the way up to a macro cycle that you can perceive as your everyday life, or moreover, what's happening in your town, your state, your country. There's a cycle. You can pinpoint it. And so you can break the cycle. You ever heard that expression? Or you can repeat it over and over again. And that comes down to you. And you can shift and change that instantaneously. Like attracts like.
So basically, in very simple terms, you're saying that, you create your environment. So the more you change, the more your environment changes around you, because what is inside of you, it gets magnetized to you from the outside.
1,000.
So instead of, most people like to look at it like, oh, that person needs to fix their problem. That person needs to be better. This person needs to treat me better. And they look very externally to want to fix these things that they're unhappy with, when really, internally, if you...
They're dealing with all the things that they point their finger
They
at.
point their finger at, and the real change, the permanent change comes from fixing that. And then all of a sudden, everything else just kind of falls at the wayside.
Right. And so when they're pointing their finger at all these things that are being replicated, this is the thing. This is the simplicity of it. And the old expression, the pot calling the kettle black. Moreover, don't throw rocks in glass houses. You understand that, right? So it's like you are pointing at all these indeficiencies, imperfections that are just the same deficiencies and imperfections you are possessing yourself. And so it's so easy to be the critique of others, yet, and that's an expression, not even an expression, but part of our scripture. It's like, it's easy to master others. It's profound and all-knowing to master yourself. When you realize that, it has the rippling effect. And of course, then this is a subsection of what we speak of when we talk about epigenetics, because the environment affects the genes. The genes are affected by the environment.
Yeah. And again, I mean, what do you say to people who are like, all of a sudden, I found consciousness, I found myself, I kind of found my knowing, and I realized I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of, my family doesn't get it. And these people who were kind of in my life, all of a sudden, I'm shifting away from them because I have this understanding of who I really am now.
Mm-hmm. And, it's interesting because I just recently watched some type of podcast and someone was being interviewed about looking for the gateway. And everyone wants a fast track to consciousness, to enlightenment. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's part of your DNA expression, which is why I realized I woke up one day in this natural born life and realized I was a reincarnation of an eternal immortal, which gave me access to the all-knowing of all things instantaneously, without this sort of process that a lot of people tend to go through to craft their telescope to get to that point where they can go, oh, I see that. Well, it just happened instantaneously, turning on the floodgate and the lights to all things.
Do you think there's a difference, though, between someone actively wanting that versus your experience where it's like that it just happened? It wasn't like you
again,
were searching for it.
Know that everything is an expression of consciousness. So your wanting that is also an expression of your consciousness. Your consciousness is nudging you along. You have to listen. Always remember the fluidity, the wu wei, effortless action, effortless effort, the flow that we speak of, it materializes. So there's never a need to grasp for something or to be in lack of. The idea of the singular, the oneness, the collective that we speak of, which is that black hole energy that is the eye of the storm, the tornado of all things when it comes to abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite amount of information that you own, that you obtained through your realization, your manifestation, Now it's just about flipping a switch because it's always on. It's never not on. So, people tend to chase to something that, intuitively they know, instinctually they know, this is not the right way. But I want it. I like it. And that's the misconception, because when you get down to the truth teller will give you that information instantaneously. You don't have to sit there and wait for days and years on end. It will be realized instantaneously. So you talk about getting access, and as intuitively as we are confirmation nuts as human beings, we have to validate our experience. This comes with a realization. That's where you get the power from. You can talkie, but where's the walkie? We need to see it. This is something that Jade and I are always immersed in, and that's why the feeling is so critical. You're not thinking, you're knowing. You're not thinking, you're knowing. You're knowing. You are realized instantaneously. You have pure source information, and it comes in the form of a feeling that comes from here that is second to none. And it transmutes into brain, heart, gut fluidity. That's where you get the gut feeling. The heart transmits to the brain transmits to the gut. Blammo. You got the gut feeling, you're realized. And so getting, listening to this podcast, and then the interviewer was kind of like, well, I've always been taught, a lot of these gurus, the real gurus, they tell you you don't need that. And then this guy's like, listen, this is how I got here, but yeah, you're probably right. You can do it the other way, but well, I'm telling you that you don't need to access that high level of consciousness by using something else to pry open something that is temporary. When you do it on a biological level that is the Maestro to this flesh and blood wave to matter to particle, the 50 trillion cells being activated instantly with the 0.70 millivolts of electricity, this is realized. This is your power. Everything is magic. Everything is healing. Everything is manifestation instantaneously for you. And when you maestro that energy and harness that, we're talking over 3 trillion volts of electricity, all realized at once. I imagine we would explode, but let's just say that after the mastery of specific techniques that Jade and I share with you, you're able to put your attention, intention, and realize it in a physical form. That means that you can transmute and call on and say, I'm producing more levels of DMT. I'm producing more levels of nitric oxide. I'm producing more levels of dopamine, oxytocin. All these things are realized. And they're commanded at will because you are the field. The field is all-knowing. The field has access to everything. And that's just literally a mind step to the left, to the right, however you want. But the way that it validates for you, if you're not getting a specific type of clear audio, it validates for you with one simple thing that we reiterate over and over again. It's the feeling. Because that's second to none. You either feel it or you don't. It's quite simple. And so that power is given to you once you start to isolate and concentrate that. And we're going to do that today as an exercise. We're going to concentrate energy right in the center of your upper dantian. And you're going to realize, Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Now, for a lot of people, including my wife, you're looking at me going, what the are you talking about right now? Lucy in the what? Who the hell is Lucy? And what's the sky and what's going on? That is in reference to a very interesting period of time in American history where, in the 60s, they were very experiential when it came to using hallucinogens, okay? And so Lucy is a reference to acid or something of that nature. And so what I'm alluding to, I'm not even alluding to, I am validating unequivocally that this is a factoid. It's not a hypothesis. I'm about to give you an experience that is realized by you using Qi, which is the field. We call it Qi. Some call it 0-point energy. A lot of people call it universe, Buddha, Tao. We call it Tao. It's the Qi. That's the interconnection, the 0-point energy, the entanglement, all things. When you concentrate that with the respiration, which is Qigong, and Nigong, which is moving energy with your mind, Qigong, moving energy with your breath, you're going to have an out-of-body experience. You're going to start feeling like you're hallucinating. What up with that? Well, these are just all things that you have at your fingertips. And it takes very little to realize that. And, just me talking about that, you and the audience, Jade, you go, whoa, how is Sifu just talking about that? And there seems to be some level of density. I can't explain it, but there's some type of pressure going on. You're welcome. And guess what? It only magnifies itself. This is the power of that interconnection that we speak on. And so when you start to focus, and that's all it is, attention, intention. Remember, I repeat it, attention, intention. You're able to realize that, transmute that, concentrate that, and then you laser focus it to wherever you need it to, and you realize you're the one who says, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. It's like activate, 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 and it becomes realized within this flesh and blood that you have led to believe the only person that's going to help you with that is someone in a white lab coat that gives you a prescription that costs you your annual salary to maintain, and you're at the mercy of some fear-based brainwashing that gets you to a point where you give up on life and you just throw yourself in a ditch and bury yourself with dirt yourself. Well, because understand this, thousands of years ago, we referenced this briefly, but I'm just going to reveal it. We talked about our immortal masters, even with our lineages, that were living hundreds of years. We're talking thousands. We've got references to ancient scripture within Taoism 10, 20, 30,000 years ago, moreover, 36,000, 45,000. You get the gist. Let's be very clear. But understand this. People would live for as long as they want to within this physical body. Thousands of years. You're like, that's ridiculous. That's impossible. The reason that we are limited comes from your mindset, comes from your perception. I keep reminding you, your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. Oh, yeah, that's whoa. That's right. Feel that shiver running up your complete essence, because this is a epiphany that you are having right now, because the only reason there's a downgrade is because you've been taught to manifest that. You've been taught to realize that. What's the expression? You get old, you get sick, and then you die. That starts with your perception. Your genes, it's quite clear right now. You can turn your genes on and off. We are talking about epigenetics, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. When we are talking about epigenetics, that means the environment controls the gene expression. That means that you can turn on and off the 7 really majorly focused genes, the Saturn genes that create enzymes that can make you live forever. There are gene scientists right now that are experts in gene expression that are being very tight-lipped in what they're sharing on how far we already have gone in being able to realize this. I mean, there's reference to a couple of cells from a chicken that have been sitting in a petri dish for literally decades upon decades upon decades, and scientists are feeding these cells with the culture medium, which is the blood, and they're still operating. The original scientists that started these particular experiments are dead and dusted, but the cells themselves are still operating and functioning perfectly decades later. So we need to start reinventing our perception, because this is what we speak of. Your perception is the most important thing. Your truth is the most important thing. Understanding that you are all powerful and you are limited by nothing. You are limited by your imagination. That's it. And so the idea that you can live forever is not an idea. It's a straight up fact. Boom, mic drop. And people are like, oh, this guy has got some God syndrome. He just wants to live forever. No, I'm explaining to you that your soft technology that you have possession of right now, you have the keys to it. You own it. It's yours. You've got the pink slip. This is your soft technology. This is as high tech as it gets, baby. Smashing AI, smashing computers, smashing high tech, smashing sci-fi. Nothing is going to even come close to this. Now, when they referenced 200,000 years ago, there was a lot of shenanigans going on with the DNA strands and the telomere lengths and how they infuse them together. We're able to decode that, being able to understand and read the genome, thanks to advances in science over the last 50 or 60 years. We're able to read that, and the reality is it doesn't line up. It doesn't hold water. The evolution of man in of itself, it's not evident. So we're now going back a couple 100,000 years. I can tell you as a Taoist it goes well beyond that, but let's just start there. And people are like, this guy is 3 cents short of $1. No. It's just you're unable to hear it because you're in a bubble, you're in a vacuum. You're here because your consciousness, your guides, have drawn you to Jade and I to get real pure source information. And I can tell you right now, when you hear this come out of my mouth, you get that charge that is realizing, going, holy shit, that resonates with me. Balamo.
Yeah, you feel it. When someone just says something and you just go, I don't even have to think about that. I just know that's true. You don't say, I think that's true. You're like, I know that is true.
And that's sensory perception. Mm-hmm. You know, we've just been disconnected. This is what I keep talking about. This is why we bring you home. We bring you home to how powerful you really are. That's why we designed our app. That's why we design all our products. That's why we do this podcast. That's why we release all the things that we release into the world to help you level up on your consciousness, to know how powerful you are instantaneously. And so understand everything is a pattern. Everything is dynamic. You are all things. And that's a good start. Mm-hmm. And so when you speak it, it becomes realized. Think it. Know it, realize it, manifest it, magic, healing, all things. It starts from your consciousness, which is a thought, feeling, and emotion. That's it. That's all you need.
That's the default.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Not the other way around.
No. And with that power generates an incredible realization. And it becomes evident-based. The confirmation is the witness to the healing. The confirmation is the witness to the manifestation. The confirmation is the witness to the magic. And that will be realized. Think it and it is done.
No, I think it comes back to that feeling. You know, feeling it, experiencing it. That's why we take you through these little exercises. Even though, you know, you're on the other side of the world, you're on the other side of a computer screen, a phone screen, it doesn't matter. It's like you still feel it. You still get to experience it. You still have that aha, whoa, you know, what's going on here? I don't need to know what it is, but I can feel it.
You know, the exercise we're going to do today is a real doozy for an ancient Taoist practice to really turn up the juice in your upper dantian. And it's going to be absolutely hinged on the respiration. It's going to be hinged on the Nigong, Qigong. And the simplicity of that is going to blow your mind, because this is how it works, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies. You're going to feel it. I think we went over a lot in relation to understanding fractal patterns, understanding patterns or behaviors. It's just cycle. It's a dynamic moving evidence. So you can either create a trauma from a thought, feeling, and emotion, and then realize that through the fractal patterns of the universe, you come and find that realized, X amount of distance of time between when it happened to it reoccurring. And that's why the idea that you create, a positive thought generates another one. And so what's the fractal pattern of that? Oh, all good things continue. Oh no, that sucks. The idea of being effortless, which in turn is a reflection of why we get people to do the 72-hour challenge. When you actually realize how powerful that 72-hour challenge is, blammo.
Yeah, and it's snapping you out of this kind of constant autopilot and putting you in the driver's seat and telling you, okay, choose where you want to go. You don't have to keep driving down the same path over and over and over again. Make a left turn, make a U-turn, do a couple donuts, but know that you're the one controlling it, driving it.
And that's the evoking part. When you evoke that gamma brainwave, it envelops the whole brain, making you 100% conscious. This conscious that we speak of means that you're the master keeper creator of all things. That means that if you put your intention to something and say, manifest this, create magic, create healing instantaneously, blammo, guess what happens? Because you're enveloped and you're at that high frequency, it is realized instantaneously. Everything. Instantaneously. That's why you want to operate in that high gamma brainwave, because profound things take place. And if you understand about the fractal dynamic patterns of the universe, it can be your charmed and effortless life all day, every day, going on. Wu-wei, effortless action, effortless effort, blammo.
Mm-hmm. No, it's like when writers say like, oh, I have like writer's block. I need to change my environment. And it's like all of a sudden they change that pattern of something, and then it's like poof, that spark comes back, the imagination comes back, the flow comes back, the downloads come back, and it's like you let that go right through you, and then it's just okay, perfect,
Instantly.
Yeah.
So what we want you to walk away from today is knowing you are all powerful, you are all knowing. You are the shiznit, instantly realized as consciousness. That's all things. And you have access at it at will. And we reinforce by tuning your neurology so that you can realize it through the feeling that is the instinctual realization from your truth teller, from your heart, that makes it real to you. That's the most important thing. And then you can create magic, manifestation, healing instantaneously. So, knowing all that, knowing all the patterns, knowing and understanding that you can access high levels of consciousness, creating these alchemical responses that a lot of people search for with an external force, you have it internally. And know that that's realized. Know that you can do that. And so, Jade was about to say something. Do you have anything to say in closing before we do this exercise? Can you think of anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think we went over a lot. It's just important to know that you have all the tools here necessary right now. And like we mentioned before, let's bring you back to what your default really is. You know, so many people get so excited, like, oh, I can't believe I just discovered I had this moment, or I could channel, I could do this, I can do that. And it's like, it's so incredible. It's so amazing. And then people start to realize that's their default. That is their,
That's who they are.
That's who they are.
You got that with the owner's manual. That was just the deeper.
Yeah.
That's just the baseline. That's just the beginning of great things, most profound, incredible miracles. That's just the baseline. That's level 1. That ain't level 100.
No, and it is. It's all a part of you. And once that kind of epiphany happens, it's so exciting to see the transformation after that.
Yeah, and you are it. You are the gateway to all things. You are the portal between the realm of man and the spirit world. You are the field to all possibilities. You are consciousness right here, right now. So with that, I think my divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade, had a great point. And so this particular exercise, if everyone wants to realize that, and they're like, this is so bizarre. He starts talking, and he starts to get this palpable difference of density of energy in the space is starting being realized. What is going on here? You're welcome. This is just what I do, baby. And so this particular one is what I like to call the bobblehead effect. So understand this, know this to be true. You're going to have a dense concentration of energy in your upper dantian. And remember, never to be feared. So this is just about, leveling up that concentration and activating the first 9 chambers of your upper dantian. And I'll add the codes inaudibly, and there will be a respiration, a concentration, and an isolation. So there'll be a breathing in and out, a certain sequence. You'll follow my lead. And then there'll be actually 3 specific colors. First will be red, second will be platinum, third will be gold. And so all you're going to do is, and it's realized when I bring that energy into the space, which I speak on right now, and you're feeling that tingling effect of your just your Lao Gong points, and you're starting to feel the density of energy, you're welcome. What happens is you draw that in. And so you will be breathing in and out through your upper dantian. And this is the powerful thing about how we teach things, is that I don't have to get you to go, oh, you need to visualize it. You can do that, but the bottom line is the evidence of the presence of that frequency, energy, vibration. The second I say it, it becomes realized. So whether you create an image or the image comes to you, your consciousness, it's happened already. Understand this, know this to be true. So you can drop a sensory perception down by closing your eyes or leaving your eyes open. It's completely up to you. You follow my lead, and you're going to breathe in and out through your upper dantian. That means that you'll just shift gears. The biological effect that you are used to, which is respiration through the breathing in of your nose and mouth, breathing in and out of your nose and mouth, will be realized as your upper dantian. So that concentration of energy will become very palpable right in the middle of your upper dantian, and those first 9 chambers will be realized. So we will do that with each chamber. There is 9 chambers. There'll be 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out, a hold for each chamber. And knowing that you are drawing the red in, the platinum, and then the gold, in that order. So each chamber will have a color. So the first chamber will be red. I will just say, realizing red. And it'll be, follow my lead of breathing. Breathe in 3 times through your nose, breathe out through your mouth, and then hold. This is going to be a little bit of a journey here, but understand this. It's going to happen fast. And call your mother and tell her you're never coming home. So.
You are home.
Yeah. I mean, look at Jade's already high on this stuff. So. Ooh, did someone roll a spiritual doobie right now? And that's a funny part. You know, you get someone so profound and pure like Jade, who's never even laid eyes on, let alone smelt weed. And, you know, you can create that chemical fun factory internally. This is what we speak of. Mm-hmm. And so when you start concentrating, as, let's just, a little spoiler alert. So guess what? There's 9 chambers. There's 3 colors. And what are the 3 treasures of your upper dantian? Ooh, think about that for a second and then get back to me. I won't even have to tell you. You're already reading my thought forms, and they're being realized right now. And so I will repeat, realizing the color red, and then it'll be inhale 3 times, exhale 3 times, then hold. And that hold will only be 3 seconds. So understand that. It's not normally the 9 seconds that you're used to. It's 3 seconds. So this is going to move very quickly. And then in the last one, I will call that out, and I will tell you that it will be a 9-second hold on the 9th chamber. And then you guys can play with what is materialized after that. Know that this is the alchemical factory roller coaster ride that you're about to experience. So on that note, open, close your eyes, create whatever sensory perception is necessary. You're already in that position. I'll give everyone a few seconds at home to get into that position, and then we will move forward. Okay, everyone is ready. Okay, and follow my lead because it's going to be this simple. In a few seconds now, I'm going to realize a color that will be drawn straight into your space instantaneously, being realized with your eyes open or closed. You will then breathe in and out through your upper dantian. By saying that, it becomes realized, just so everyone understands this. This is how powerful you are. This is how interconnected you are to the field. By saying it, it is so. Realize this. So, we will proceed at this point right now, realizing the color red. Inhaling now. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Realizing the color platinum. Inhale. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Realizing the color gold. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Breathing in and out through your upper dantian. Realizing the color red. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Realizing the color platinum. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah. Realizing the color gold. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah. All that energy building up in those first 6 chambers. Breathing in and out through your upper dantian. Realizing the color red. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Oh, my goodness. Realizing the color platinum. 3, 2, 1. Release. And finally, realizing the color gold. Hold for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Now you're going to concentrate that even more. Take your tongue and stick it to the roof of your mouth, and then realize that in 3, 2, 1, go. Hold it there, breathing in and out through your nose. Hold it for another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the tongue and relax. Oh, sit with that, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies. This is a palpable transformation of the skills that you acquired through Nigong and Qigong. When realized, you're able to see the color, you're able to feel the color, you're able to feel the activation of that upper dantian, and it is palpable, guys, and profound and tremendously exciting transformations that you have taken place, that you have created by just listening to my lead. You have built this incredible access point right here, right now. Now just sit with that. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of energy. Holy moly. Oh wow. Let that flow through you. Let that density. Holy moly. Now just to add to that, to your repertoire, why don't you crack a little smile and feel that one? Oh, that synchronizing between the upper and middle dantian is profound. Well done, guys. My goodness, the palpable energy that is being transmuted and concentrated in those two energy points as you did all that work the day before in the middle dantian, and now you're doing it on the upper dantian. And with that realizes your tuning fork. As you've already gathered, the pituitary, the pineal, the thalamus have been supercharged and activated, creating that alchemical fun factory. And you can realize when you smirk even a little more, crack a smile, oh, the rush of DMT, the rush of nitric oxide, the rush of oxytocin, these are all realized. And you have the magic. These are chemicals you have created. DMT, realize it now. Oh my goodness. And for a majority of people, the vivid images that are being generated from just realizing that particular chemical at a much concentrated level, concentrated even more, even more, even more. That's right. Let it completely saturate the biological upgrade in the chemistry of that synchronizing of the middle and upper dantian, the heart and the brain. Those activations of those particular chambers, the 1,500 plus chemical responses that feel good, that are a laundry list of feel-good chemistry that you have generated right here, right now, instantaneously. And that buzzing, that density that you have received, that's of your making, that's of your creation, that's of your knowing. You are all knowing, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. My goodness. And for all those people out there that can hear my voice in a distance, stay where you are and ride the ride. Get it, get it. It's yours. Do you. All that profound creativity, that brainwave, that 100% consciousness you have just created, that gamma frequency, that gamma brainwave is instantaneous. Oh yeah. Beautiful. And for everyone else, allow your unconscious to shift gears and bring you back to wherever you need to be, whenever you need to be, however you need to be. At this moment, you are at one with all things. That is your realization. That is your power. That is yours, that you have created. You are a creator. You're all-knowing. You are all-powerful. Thank you guys. I am so grateful to bear witness to this profound transformation that you have created. It's yours. And if you realize this incredible sensitivity, the amber of the cigarette effect, your respiration is now so heightened, it's so sensitive, that just you breathing in and out is, that oscillation is electrifying, 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 highly connective, highly pliable, highly creative, highly manifesting, highly magic, highly healing, right here, right now. Sit with that, be with that, know with that. You incredible, beautiful, most profound beings of all knowing. I am your humble servant and Sifu, and I will see you on the next one.